a girl who first appeared on camera at just 11 months old, and when she turned 36, the entire world fell silent at the news of her death. In between those two moments was a life so bright that people called her the unbreakable cheerleader, and so broken that she once called part of it a living nightmare. This is the story of Hayden Panettiere, a story with all the glamour of Hollywood, and all the pain hidden just beneath it. If you think fame fixes everything, this story will change your mind. Stay until the end, because the ending will stop you cold. On August 21, 1989, in South Orangetown, New York, a daughter is born, Hayden Leslie Panettiere. Her mother, Leslie, was once a soap opera actress herself. Her father, Alan, was a captain in the New York City Fire Department. But this child's path was already being written differently. At just 11 months old, Hayden appears on camera for the first time, in a commercial for a toy train. That was only the beginning. By the time other kids were starting school, she was already acting in One Life to Live. Then came Guiding Light, where her character Lizzie battles leukemia, a role so emotionally heavy for a child that it earns her a special recognition award. Think about it. While other children were on playgrounds making friends, this little girl was on set with private tutors. Was this a normal childhood? Or was it preparation for something else entirely? Then, in 1998, at just 9 years old, Hayden voices Princess in Pixar's blockbuster A Bug's Life. She becomes a Grammy nominee, the 5th youngest Grammy nominee in history. The world had just met a new star. But this was only the beginning of a journey that would eventually make Hayden one of the most famous cheerleaders on television. And inside that fame, she would carry something the world knew nothing about. 2006. A show premieres called Heroes. Hayden plays Claire Bennett, a high school cheerleader with a superpower. No matter how badly she's hurt, she never stays down. Ironic, isn't it? A real-life girl who looked unbreakable from the outside was playing a character who literally could not be broken on screen. The role turns Hayden into an overnight superstar. Convention appearances, magazine covers, a global Neutrogena campaign, everything happened at once. Forbes reported she earned $2 million in 2007 alone. To the world, she was the picture of a perfect Hollywood success story. But what was happening underneath all that shine? Nobody was asking that question yet. Because from the outside, everything looked flawless. New projects, an acclaimed turn as Kirby Reed in Scream 4, and then a role that would change her life forever. In 2012, Hayden lands the role of a lifetime, Juliet Barnes, a country music star, on ABC CMT's Nashville. The role is so powerful it earns her 2 Golden Globe nominations. She records her own music, tours, performs at concerts, and even climbs the charts herself. From the outside, this looked like the golden era of Hayden's career. But behind the scenes, a storm was already building in her personal life, and no one had any idea how big it would become. Back in 2009, Hayden meets world heavyweight boxing champion Wladimir Klitschko. They fall in love, break up, get back together, and by 2013, they are engaged. In December 2014, they welcome a daughter. On the surface, it looked like a fairy tale, a Hollywood star, a boxing legend, and their beautiful baby girl. But fairy tales aren't always true. In 2015, during a TV interview, Hayden reveals something the world had never heard before, that after giving birth, she struggled with postpartum depression. It's scary, she says, and it needs to be talked about. That single statement was more than a headline. It was the first glimpse of a life quietly falling apart behind the scenes, a life the world hadn't been allowed to see. But the real storm hadn't even started yet. 2018. News breaks that Hayden and Wladimir Klitschko have split. But the part that shook people the most was this. Hayden gives up full custody of her daughter to Klitschko. Stop and think about that for a second. A mother chooses to step away from her own child. Why? Hayden later explained it herself, a battle with postpartum depression and addiction. She called the decision heartbreaking and a living nightmare, but necessary for her own recovery. The world that once knew her only as the unbreakable cheerleader was now watching a woman who was clearly breaking, but still fighting to put herself back together. And the pain didn't end there. A new relationship was coming. And with it, a new storm. After Klitschko, Hayden enters a relationship with Brian Hickerson. But in 2020, that relationship also takes a devastating turn. The couple splits following allegations of domestic violence. That same year, Hayden takes a brave step. She publicly encourages survivors of abuse to speak up, referencing her own experience. She talks openly about something the world usually keeps hidden. This was the same Hayden who had grown up in front of cameras since infancy, but now she was sharing her deepest, hardest truths with the entire world watching. Fast forward to 2026. In May, Hayden publishes her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning. In it, she shares things she had never told anyone before. She publicly comes out as bisexual and opens up about chapters of her life that had, until then, stayed locked away inside her. It seemed like Hayden had finally found her own voice. Like she was ready to move forward, to write her story on her own terms. But fate had something else planned. And the next turn would leave the whole world in stunned silence. August 16, 2026. Greenville, South Carolina. Hayden Panettiere passes away at just 36 years old. Police reported she was pronounced dead at the scene, and preliminary findings showed no signs of foul play. The news stopped the world in its tracks. The girl who never died on screen, who as Claire Bennett always got back up no matter how badly she was hurt, was gone, in real life, far too soon. Her Heroes co-star Viola Davis remembered her as an amazing talent, calling her an old, wise soul with such a deep heart. Heroes writer Brian Fuller said she was more than an actress, she was a muse. Kelly Osbourne, Selma Blair, David Arquette, and many more from Hollywood shared their tributes in the days that followed. Hayden Panettiere's story isn't just the story of a Hollywood star. It's the story of a person who grew up entirely in the public eye, who lived every joy and every heartbreak in front of the cameras. A woman who, instead of hiding her struggles, chose again and again to speak about them openly, whether it was postpartum depression, addiction, or surviving abuse. What makes this story stay with you is this: the girl who looked unbreakable on screen was fighting battles in real life that the world never fully saw. If this story moved you, remember, sometimes the people who smile the brightest are carrying the deepest pain. Hayden's story teaches us that real courage isn't just about getting back up. It's about telling the truth out loud, no matter what the world thinks. Rest in peace, Hayden. Your story will be remembered.